So picture you're in a translucent cube. You're inside a glass box. Only the glass box is not it's not a totally clear box. It's colored. And so maybe it's a light blue, maybe it's a dark pink, maybe it's purple. And there's a whole bunch of these boxes. Everybody's inside of one of them, and they can talk to each other. And the guy in the light blue box says, "You know what, guys? Everything in my world, everything that I see, everything is a little blue. It's light blue." And the lady in the dark pink box, she says, "You know, everything I see, it's all very, very pink out there." And I mean, I know it. I can take a picture and show you, like, it's true. Like, this is everything is dark pink in the world. And isn't it fascinating how that our perspective is the overlay of the entire world? So your experience of reality is not so much reality itself as it is the box you're in. And box makes it sound like it's something highly confining. It not necessarily. I think there's a sense in which we have the opportunity to choose what color our box is. But the perhaps most interesting slash disconcerting thing about the box is when you live in it all your life, you don't actually realize that you're in the box. You don't realize that you're seeing things through a certain color. I had a rather jarring experience, a somewhat jarring experience. So there's a sports commentator that I enjoy listening to, Colin Cowherd, and he and his buddy Nick Wright were having a conversation, and maybe I should say I used to enjoy listening to Colin. I'm getting a little tired of some of his flip flopping and hot takes, but anyway, be that as it may, the chemistry between Colin and Nick is typically quite good, and they have fun conversations. And this time, I think Colin had probably swished back a couple of beers at this point, or some type of strong drink, and so he was feeling a little loose, and they were kind of in the mood to chat about some things beyond just sports. And so they talked about politics some, and it was fascinating to hear two guys whose generally I liked, generally their intellect I didn't call into question, who generally had interesting perspectives and all this and that, and they're like, nobody really thinks XYZ. And, when I'm one of those people who thinks XYZ, and, it was just amazing to consider how dramatically different, like, people who perhaps otherwise would get along well, but they're in a like, people you can enjoy hanging out with certain people, and then sometimes you get a peek on, like, what the color of their box is, and you look out of it and you're like, whoa, the world you see is, like, very different than the world that I see. So I think that is one of the fun challenges of life, is to get that box updated with an accurate color. And I think God is not in a box. God does not have a warped perspective on anything. His perspective is 100% true and accurate. And so one of the opportunities and the challenges of life is to get our perspective closer to seeing what he sees, to get our box more or less, or closer to clear, and not have a weird tone put over it. Now, at the same time, I would say this. I do believe that there's some, you could say there's some beauty in the color of the different boxes. So, like, you could make an argument that that's actually a part of how God made us, is to have a certain type of outlook on life, a certain type of perspective and approach to problem solving and things like that. So Do I think that we all have to see the world in exactly the same way in order for us to be like following God? Not really. I think there is a beautiful diversity as well. But underneath it all, there's the core reality, which is the reality of who God is and how he sees the world. And it makes me think about this happiness guru who one of his exercises for returning to happiness was asking the question, is this true? And isn't it interesting how many thoughts we can allow into our minds and respond to them emotionally without really considering, is that thought actually true? So if you find that you don't like the world you live in, it's possible that you could like it by changing the color of your box.